want to talk about Vegas. Was it about what you expected this race to be? I mean, Kyle Larson obviously had a dominant performance. The closing laps, though, with Tyler Reddick, the battle was good. What'd you think?
Well, I think from the beginning, we really expected Kyle Larson to compete and be the guy to beat. And really, before the race, we talked it was Kyle Larson versus his right rear tire. That was really the biggest battle that he was going to fight, was could the tire withstand how he likes to drive his car, and how much would he fall off at the end of a run. And I don't think he missed a beat pretty much all weekend, and that right rear tire survived. And he can just drive his car looser than most guys. And when you look at the finishing order, I would tell you the same thing about Tyler Reddick because of just their style of driving. I feel like Tyler Reddick was the better car, especially at the end of the race. And Kyle Larson just did an absolutely phenomenal job of putting his car in the right spot to air block and do the things that he needed to do. I was a little bit surprised at the end of the race, just kind of where Tyler wound up on the racetrack. I really thought that he would stick with that high groove through 3 and 4 that he had made so much time with. And as a driver, I always feel like there's a little bit left in the risk that you can take running against the high line when you get to lap coming to the white or at the white flag. But I felt like leading, he ran that high line coming to the checkered, but I felt like with 2 laps to go, he got himself in a bad spot in some bad air, and he had lost all the ground that he made up. So he was frustrated after the race, which I'm happy to see. I love to see that emotion of guys just pissed off about finishing second. And that's the worst spot to finish, because he knew that he had the best car at the end of that race and just didn't have the track position and couldn't make it work. And Kyle just did a great job.
You've known Kyle Larson a long time. Do you feel like we're witnessing one of the greatest talents we've seen in recent years coming through in his career and everything he's been able to do?
He's out of control. He's just so good. And the thing about Larson to me is that he does it in different disciplines. Like, he gets in whatever car and he goes fast. And not everyone can do that. Like, there are good drivers that are good at their discipline, but Kyle seemed like he can just get in whatever and go compete at a high level. Now, I think it's interesting because for a little while, I didn't think anyone was really on his level, especially at these tracks. 1.5 miles where you got a rim ride to create that momentum to get that speed. Tyler Reddick, I feel like, has pushed Kyle.
Yeah.
Like, kind of like how Kyle Larson used to push Kyle Busch when Kyle was coming up. And now Reddick is kind of pushing Larson to his limits, and he's getting a little better about how is he staying in the lead. So, Kevin, did you ever have somebody that was where you saw them coming and like they were starting to push you to be better? Because that's an interesting spot.
For me, a lot of times it was Kyle Busch, which I thought had a winning car this weekend. Pit road mistake, took himself out of contention. But for me, Kyle Busch and I went round and round. And it was from the early days at KHI, we competed against our own truck teams. We competed against each other in the Busch Series, the Xfinity Series, the Cup Series. We ran into each other pretty much every way you could run into each other on the racetrack. And it was just a constant evolution of who could outdo who. And that was fun. And that true competition and that true rivalry, it's not something that you create. It's something that happens. And when you have that rivalry, these guys don't have that rivalry. They may be pushing each other from a performance side to see who can outdo each other, but it's different when they start running into each other. And we're starting to hear a little bit of chirping.
A little bit of chirping coming on post-race.
We got a little bit of chirping post-race. So the fact that they're starting to chirp, because that style of racing is frustrating. It's fun for us to watch, but it's frustrating because of the fact sometimes when you have a faster car, you can't put yourself in the right position to get by a guy unless you just outsmart him, outthink him, or something happens, whatever happens right there. And so I like the fact that we've got a little chirping going on.
Yeah, you mentioned Kyle Busch and the fact that he had a pit road issue. There were a lot of teams kind of that did. Guys making mistakes, veteran drivers making mistakes, pit crew making mistakes. Were you surprised to see that? Or
not at all.
Yeah.
And the reason that I say that is you always see early in the year a ton of mistakes. As we go throughout the year, there's going to be mistakes here and there. But when we get, probably for the first 7 to 10 weeks, there's just going to be a lot of mistakes because guys are not in a rhythm. Vegas is a really fast racetrack. It's really the first unrestricted racetrack that we've raced on this year with that style of downforce and horsepower. But Vegas is a tricky pit road. It's hard to get on to pit road correctly. You have some corners in the middle of pit road with the quad oval there that you have to navigate the pit road speed and everything that comes with that. But the pit boxes are really, really slippery. And that's something that I always practice before the race would start in practice. And, I think that just when you try to get a little bit more there, you see exactly what you saw with Kyle Busch. You see him slide through the pit.
Hey, race fans, thanks for watching our video. For all NASCAR on Fox News, content, and the best clips from Fox Sports, be sure to follow and subscribe to our channel.